What's up, everyone? We are back with Vinland Saga. I'm Chris,
William Pierre.
and this is episode 18 of Vinland Saga, the first method. Pretty intense episode. We uproot the character that is Ketil, which is very
Right?
interesting.
Yep.
Um, so, to start off, Canute and his army are about 3 days out from Ketil's farm. Canute is prepared to fight, but he would rather things be settled with Ketil peacefully. Um, by Ketil just submitting to his authority. And for this reason, he's willing to risk his life to travel there in person with his army,
Hmm.
since his presence carries weight when it comes to any form of subjugation, which
Right.
makes sense. Um, and so the Canute, he was because of course Thorgil, Ketil, and Olmar, they were escaping from the capital, so they reached Ketil's farm first.
Yeah.
Um, and once they arrived on the shore, Thorgil is just happily telling everybody to prepare for war, and he's very excited about it. And he intentionally hides who the enemy is so that nobody gets discouraged amongst the people that he's telling.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which that's a pretty big power play. That's
Right.
a very smart way to manipulate a mass amount of people into doing what you
Yeah.
want.
That's
So
true. Yeah. That's
um,
really true. Because if these guys know, they're not gonna do it.
yeah,
And then the false
no.
promises, like everyone who's owed money, like your debt will be paid. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. You know
hmm.
what I would probably do? I don't know if I would get away with this, but I would say that I'm gonna fight, and then as soon as the fighting happens, I would just kind of like run and be like, "Oh, I was there fighting, so my debt's paid, right? I'm good to go."
I mean, damn. Yeah. It's like Dorgal really was excited. He's like, guys, we're going to war. Our
Yeah.
enemy has
Oh
come.
yeah.
Dude. Like this
He's
man is
crazy.
hype.
Yeah. And
Mm,
Omar though, he's just the complete opposite because he's
I know,
following
right?
close
Yeah.
behind, and he's just completely depressed about the entire situation. Understandably
Uh
so. It's very
yeah.
scary.
That's true, man. That was he had the hype, like he wanted to be a warrior, but the introduction was so all at once. Like Thorgil didn't even like slowly,
Mhm.
okay, Omar, this is how you start. Then you get higher up, and this is your ranking, and then you go to war. It was like, bro, we're going to war. And he's like, this is too much. It's like, this is too much. It's
And
like,
not only are we going to war, we're fighting like arguably the strongest adversary that you could possibly face
with a bunch
on
of
the planet
idiots.
with a bunch of idiots. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. That's insane.
Mm, insane,
Um,
man.
And Kettle, meanwhile, he's in the fetal position. He's just in a stupor where he's just craving Arneid's presence. And it goes to show just how much of an emotional attachment, or rather an emotional dependence, that he has on Arneid.
Yeah,
Because when a person is at their lowest like that, that's
right.
often when their true character comes out. It's like
That
when
is
all
true.
the mental crutches that they have
Mm-hmm.
deployed, they redeploy them, and it's when their deepest thoughts tend to shine the brightest. So he craved Arnheid in that moment more than he did his wife. He
Yeah.
craved her more than he did the protection of like Snake or Thorgil. And in my mind, him being in the fetal position is behavior that's akin to like a scared child who, when backed into a corner, seeks emotional protection from a parental figure. So
Mm.
Arnheid is sort of like a pseudo substitute for that parental figure in my mind.
Mm-hmm. She has mommy
So
issues then, bro.
yeah, yeah, maybe,
uh,
maybe.
hmm.
And if you
That
mix the
is true,
fact
bro.
that yeah,
And
yeah,
if it makes it
it's
fast, go
crazy to
ahead.
think about,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, like if you mix the fact that Arnheid is this emotional safe haven for him, with the fact that he's had multiple sexual relations with her, which only deepens a bond with you can have with somebody. That is a recipe for some of the deepest dependence that you could have on another person. And it can lead, that dependence can lead to the dependent doing some very frightening things, as we will see later on in the episode. Uh, but yeah, man, do you think he's in love with Arnheid? You think that's fair to say?
Um, Honestly, man, because we've seen the end of this episode, like we know where this goes.
Yeah.
I think his dad is the only like I think age. You know how they say age brings wisdom. I think his dad has gotten to a point where, because like father, like son. That's unfortunately when you were raised by like that's your dad. Like you mirror your parent. So sure, you
That's true.
you find a bunch of attributes the same that he had. Because it's I get that, but his dad, like look at his dad, what he has sacrificed, allowing slaves to like go free, like willing to sell his farm to a guy to let his slaves go free. And for this guy in the heat of rage to completely turn into someone that was not infatuated, but more like a what's the word? Is this narcissism? No, narcissism is like you by yourself. As in, like I own. This was never love. This was you were a commodity.
Selfish.
You were mine. Yeah, like you weren't. This wasn't some person stuff. This was you're a person, but like you're my property, basically. Yeah, it
Mm,
dehumanized her, which it's I don't know, man,
hmm.
insane. Yeah, kettle flip, man. Like,
Yeah, he
bro, like,
really did. I got
uh,
to take back
yeah,
what I said about him in the previous episodes. I was
right?
like, I'm completely convinced that he is this fantastic man, but no, he's very much human. That's he's not flawless
Um,
at
but
all.
at the same time, it's justified is harsh. And at the same time, I understand. Like with all
Hmm.
the things that happened to him, like it's like it's just and to come home to this, like tried
Yeah,
fleeing. Like, what do you mean you tried fleeing? Like, oh,
yeah, it's a
like
lot. It's
it's.
a lot to take in,
But is it
a lot to
though?
process.
Because that's the thing, dude. Like, as a master, as a black guy, I'd probably never be in that position. But I can't even fathom what that is, that power. But but being a master and owning slaves, like like my old boss, right? One time he got to the office on Monday, and he's like, I spoke with my wife on Friday, and she helped me see the perspective from an employee's viewpoint because I'm the employer. There are some things I would not see. And for that week, he was like, yeah, maybe things that you guys do or say is for that reason. So, okay, that's pretty cool. From him, like, he's the master. He owns his farm. Like, of course they're freaking oppressed, dude. Like, of course she would want to be free. But he's seeing, what
Mm,
about the things I'm doing for you? Like, bro, she's in captivity. Like, what do you,
yeah,
but he can't see that. And plus, to top it all off, he's having a very terrible week. Homeboy freaking went somewhere to make truce with some people just to find out that you're about to get your land requisitioned and just to find out the army's been unleashed, you're an enemy of the state. Just to
yeah,
find out your girl trying to leave. but
yeah.
but still, man. Oh, but still, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy when you think about it, like with what you said about your boss and also
Right.
Kettle. It's like how quickly and how easily you can just lose perspective when you are in a position that is above, what you're typically used to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess that is what separates the truly greatest leaders, or the leaders who never lose sight of that perspective, even though
Mm-hmm.
they're at the very top.
Yeah.
And those are the
Empathy.
leaders that are, yeah, empathy. And they tend to be the leaders that are like the most respected because
Yeah.
that empathy, it
Servant-based leaders. That's sure.
exudes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly.
Like Mandela.
So,
Like Mandela, imagine could have freaking. I don't have
mm,
enough knowledge of Mandela to actually go in depth. Like I don't want to be.
he is
I
a
don't want.
fascinating individual, Nelson
Right.
Mandela.
As in his stature. That's a dude who gained British education. Like, he studied in England. Like to come back and not be on a I'm higher than the rest of you light or dark skinned folks because he's black. But to be like a
Mm,
servant based leader, like down with the people. And Mandela served in jail. It's just
Yeah, that's
it's pretty
insane.
sick. Yeah, like the you didn't watch Game of Thrones. The what's season 3, season 4? The church took over. Some bald man who played a bunch of other movies. Actually, he wasn't bald. Some Pope guy who was with the people. They almost dethroned Cersei, but Cersei Cersei got the last laugh on all of them. But as a leader, he was like down with yeah. Servant based leaders are the best. Like not people that say go, but like let's go. They're just down with the masses
Mm,
and stuff. Yeah, you gain
I like
respect
that.
and yeah. That's what we thought Homeboy was. But that's crazy. That's who he was, Christian. Because do you remember when we were first introduced to him? He was on the field working with his workers. Just,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
that's I don't know, man. Homeboy just flipped. Yeah, it's just he didn't even care.
It's too
Thorfinn
much for
tried
him.
fleeing. Okay, Arnheid. It's like wait, who? It's
No, 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 not
just,
you.
crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. So Kettle, he, in his stupor, he just trudges over to Arnheid while Thorgil and Olmar, they're preparing for battle. And part of that preparation is spreading word throughout the farm. And of course, Snake's men eventually find out as well. And on Thorgil's orders, they're meant to fortify the walls, which the camera pans and we see that the walls are really like these just pathetic looking picket fences that there's no fortifying that. That's just like
Right.
something he said to say, I guess. And
I
um,
this man is
mm,
so this man has such the heart of a warrior that the reality of how outnumbered he is doing nothing to his confidence as what's about to happen.
yeah,
He's so
it's crazy,
thrilled.
right?
Like, he's smiling, like you know this is defeat. Snake, oh Snake, the next episode. This and the next episode, Snake has been for starters. Right. Before I get into Snake, how is Snake alive? And worse yet, how is Snake not have like at least a cast around his neck? Like Snake
Oh,
looked like
because he
he's
got choked
nothing
out.
ever happened to him. Because he got what?
Yeah, because he almost got choked out. No better.
By a man on freaking human super serum. Just like I don't know, but anyway, but dude, yeah, like look at Snake, who's a warrior who trained Thorgil, doing everything he can to go against
Mm,
this thing. Like, bro, we're outnumbered. We're outnumbered. Thorgil's like, yeah, like, uh, I don't know, man. These men live for war. Like guys like Thorgil, guys like Thorkel, like yeah,
these
these
Thors.
yeah these Thors, even Thors, old version of Thors, even old version of
Yeah,
Thorfinn. These men
yeah.
live for war. Insane.
It's-
Oh yeah, one thing too, which is kind of dope. Do you see how although they're tied, Aenor is still thinking about Arnheid? Like they're like
mm,
around the freaking about to get whatever punishment is coming because the master's coming back. Aenor is still like, what about Arnheid? Like whatever we're gonna get, it is what it is. But Kettle's gonna go crazy, but maybe he won't because he like her. But damn, I don't know. Like this is just genuine and pure careness and like unconditional love, man. Like
yeah, yeah. And it's not even like you said, it's pure. Like it's not like he's
there's
like
no ulterior
so
motive. There's
sexually.
no
Yeah,
sexually yeah. And Homegirl's bad for an anime character. But it's like,
she is.
and
She
this
is.
guy is just like that's insane, man. Oh, that's crazy
Man,
stuff.
that is wild.
Mm, damn. When Thorfinn
Um,
broke his oath, he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm sorry you had to break your oath. I like that. I like that he feels accountable. Accountable. There's some accountability to the fact that he knows he brought Thorfinn back to a stage that he wouldn't want. He never wanted to get back to, and he acknowledges that. I love that when characters do this because it just shows, yes,
mm,
like I understand this must have been hard. You promised yourself not to fight, but you had to fight Snake to help guard our and Arnie to escape. Like I'm sorry you broke your oath. Like that's just some beautiful stuff, man. That's good. The fact that he told him that, the fact that the writers had him tell Thorfinn that, I was like, that's so nice because you knew what
yeah,
it took for him
single
to
writer.
get back there. Like, crazy.
Yeah. And one thing I want to highlight from that conversation too, because like you said, Thorfinn had to break his oath. That inevitably forces Thorfinn to change his position on violence. And now, instead of being a complete pacifist, he's accepted that violence is still an option, but it should be the very last option. and he
Yes.
wants to learn what the options preceding violence should be, which is why the episode is called The First Method. It's like, okay, what should the
Yeah.
first option be instead of violence?
Yeah. And he's constantly replaying it in his head. What could have I done different? And Eno's like,
Yeah.
bro, that was nothing else. He's like, I don't know, man. What could have I done different? It's like,
Mm.
the snake was determined. Yeah, yeah. Like the wife, I love when like you already mentioned when his wife is like, oh, when he's looking for Arnheid and can't find Arnheid and he get to his wife, he's not even excited. She's like, oh, that your old flame? When she tried escaping, so it's like, no,
Yeah.
her old flame. She tried escaping with her old flame. So women, man, it's just, like he loves her. Just to freaking stab a knife deeper. She's not just running away to run away. She's running away to start a family with some guy. Just
Yeah, she's
her
petty.
old
I mean, it makes
flame,
sense.
bro.
It makes sense.
I mean, I don't even like. Listen, man, your first wife and some slave come around, not even almost trumps your position. Like your husband barely speak with you. Like that's a slap in the face. I mean, she is old, but still, you
Mm.
know, I didn't even knock her for that. I would say worse. I'd be like, you won't believe this. She slept with him on your bed and then tried fleeing with him. I would probably add more. It's like,
Didn't even clean the sheets so
uh,
you could see the mess that they
right.
made.
Oh, Keto, you should have heard the screams. She said Keto never did that. She was screaming, Keto never did that.
She gives them like an exact time frame of how long the month lasted.
She said, Gardar, take me, Gardar. Oh my goodness,
uh,
this channel's not for kids. All right, it's hot. I'm open a window. Oh, oh my goodness. Oh, crazy stuff.
yeah, but so yeah, then we get to, of course, he after his wife told him that about Arnheid. We get to the scene where Kettle finds Arnheid in the barn. So with the context of what I mentioned earlier, um, about how Kettle has a strong dependence on Arnheid and how that dependence can manifest in scary ways, we see a very clear example of how it's manifesting in a very scary way.
Yeah,
And after finding out that she tried to escape Kettle, he naturally feels very betrayed. And again, he's a cowardly person who is in his weakest moment when
mm-hmm.
the fear is at an all-time high and everything he's built over the course of his life is on the verge of collapsing. So to have his emotional, sexual, and paternal sanctuary be destroyed by the target of his affection, it's an act of betrayal that is incredibly hard to deal with. Not to
Yeah,
mention that, the fact that this betrayal is, like you said, an old fling, an old flame, due to her husband coming back into the picture. And
bro. Mm-hmm.
he ends up finding that Arnheid is pregnant. So,
Mm,
because of this, all these things, Kettle's pride as a man and his insecurities as a man also come into
mm-hmm.
play. So, fear, betrayal, insecurity, pride, the idea of an infidelity that led to the woman that you love or the woman that you have this deep attachment with, uh, got impregnated as a result of the infidelity. Like the idea of that, it all combines together and creates a fury within Kettle that not only makes him brutally beat Arnheid and her unborn child within an inch of death, but it also
Seriously.
gives him like this baseless courage to go after Canute.
Placebo effect.
Yeah,
um,
riding the high of it.
yeah, there's something else too, man. Those are also like old wounds. Oh, that's a loud car. Okay. Those are also old wounds because a few scenes later, as he's walking, they show you some flashbacks. Remember the
Right.
first girl he ever loved. was taken from him by another man. But
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know. He doesn't know the ends of that deal. His dad know he sold his girl to some other guy. I don't think Ketil knows that his girl was sold. I think Ketil thinks his girl voluntarily went to the other guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe this is like an old wound, a scar. Like you, the same way I lost a girl when I was a youth that went to some other guy, you decided to go to another guy. Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the way Sverkel explained that old story, a win. What was the metaphor for that whole episode? A win. Wounds. What was the word? Him and
Uh,
him and him and Arnie said these things over and over. I can't remember.
a
A
storm, like
storm.
a
Yes,
system's
some storms you
storm.
carry with you. And then he told him that story. I don't think Ketil knows his dad sold his girl. Because look at their relationship. They're still father and son. If a son was to find out his dad sold a woman that he loved at the time, which was like Bay, like his heart, and she ended up dying, I don't think he would have forgiven his dad. So
Mm.
maybe he think this is happening again. Someone else that I love again is choosing to go with another guy again. That's why I think like there's just a plethora of reasons why he did what he did. Still messed up. Like anger or no anger, bro. Like you have compassion. You couldn't freaking discipline two kids because you were able to understand they had to steal with no father figure, with no working parent with them. Like you were able to understand to like he's been overly understanding, but that's matters of the heart. That's a stature again. Like I'm the king of this land. What more can you have? And you're still trying to freaking run away with some old fling. It's just to show you,
Mm.
man. But there's definitely a power dynamic. If those were two people in the same freaking wavelength on the social economic status, like this would have been handled differently. It's just the ego trip and the power trip comes back into play. Like you're nothing. Like I made
Yeah.
you into something, and this is what you do. I'm gonna freaking destroy you. It's
Mm.
That scene was heart wrenching, man, bro.
Mm.
Damn. If
Yeah.
Snake have to intervene, you know it's messed up. If Snake then to even play that mind trick, you can discipline your slave however you want to discipline your slave. Do you want them
Mm-hmm.
executed or do you want to discipline them? Just like
Mm-hmm.
like bringing these key words for him to stop and get back into reality and seeing what he's doing. Still upset, but being able to freaking take a break to walk away. Like Snake passively saved Arnheid's life with that intervention that he didn't even have to do. That just to show you, as messed up as Snake is, that's another thing too. Everything he does is so justified. Like, how self-centered
Mm.
are you that you can just kill my men and don't get away with it? Like, I don't care, but your boy killed my men. Like, it's just it's I don't know. I like Snake. I really like
Yeah,
Snake, but
it's just like Thorfinn said. He likes Snake too because he's a man
right?
of principle, and
Yeah.
it's hard to not like him. Uh,
All right.
he's
I
just
know.
he's a cool guy.
Crazy stuff.
Um,
But yeah, he beats her, man, and then Snake intervened. It's insane. He walked
yeah,
away.
yeah, and prior to the beating, we saw that Patter he asked Leif to not only buy Thorfinn but also if he could buy Einar and Arnheid as well. So when Snake arrives, Leaf and Patter follow him, or they're right behind him. And Leaf he makes an attempt to buy Arnheid as Kettle's leaving, but of course, Kettle he denies, saying that you're free to take Thorfinn and Einar, but you're not taking Arnheid because I didn't say I didn't want her.
Damn.
So she's shackled pretty heavily to this farm, as we already knew.
Damn.
Um, but in the next scene, we see Leaf, we see Thorfinn, we see Einar, and we see Patter looking at a beaten Arnheid lying in bed. So something I think we should address is the fact that we weren't shown Leaf's initial encounter with Thorfinn, because obviously, that's a pretty big thing to omit from the story.
That is true.
Um, but I looked this up, and Makoto Yukimura, he's the guy who made Vinland Saga, on his Twitter account, he said, and I quote, "I will answer the question why didn't you depict the touching reunion of Leif and Thorfinn? And then he said, I wanted to draw that too, but just before that, a ridiculous incident, and he's referring to the abuse of Arnheid, a ridiculous incident happened. And the two were no longer happy to see each other again. Inevitably, the order in which events occur end up being that way: abuse incident before reunion. I couldn't draw the scene of Thorfinn and Leif happily embracing each other beside Arnheid, who was in such a terrible state. End quote. So the were an abundance of happy tears, I imagine, would have been a disservice to not only the character of Leif, but the character of Thorfinn, and also
Yeah.
the emotions that the scene required. And I'm glad that he at least acknowledged this, because it is a very, again, it's a very big thing to omit.
Mm-hmm.
But after rewatching how everything takes place, I actually think it fits. Like, it makes sense
It's the best way.
on a second
Yeah.
watch through. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it is jarring. Like, if you notice that at first, like, whoa, all of a sudden Leif and Thorfinn are next to each other. And Leif has been on this, like, this interaction with Thorfinn meant so much to Leif that he named like an adoptive child after Thorfinn. So it's like,
Yeah.
I could see how it'd be jarring. But at the same time, we also have to remember that it's not like this moment on the farm is the first time that Leif saw Thorfinn since the day that Thor's died.
That is
Because he
true.
did, yeah, like
With
he already
Oscar, he
had
met him.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he already had that emotional meeting, right?
But not in the right headspace. He met a very disorientated, very laser focused on revenge, very far from normal Thorfinn. So
Right.
that's a better mental state, Thorfinn. In a way, this is like the first reunion. I think he would. I mean, anything he'll take anything he can get. But on Thorfinn's perspective, like Thorfinn was not there for that meeting, that first meeting. It was like, old man, get the fuck away from me. I'm trying to kill this man, and you're staying in my way. uh, but yeah, no, that's true. No, that's very fitting. That was too much. Yeah, having a reunion, like having people like be all teary and joyful, yeah, it did not have its place. This was too somber of an episode. I concur.
Yeah.
I agree. I second that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. But yeah, so the after that, pretty much the episode ends with Ketil. He's picking up his sword, and he's getting ready to charge at the king and fight him. And
He'll,
yeah,
he'll punish them, even if it's the king. Like, bro, for a split second, I forgot this man was a farce. I was like, oh
yeah,
shit.
right.
I'm like, he's getting those. Like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, we're about to get the Iron Fist back. And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. I'm
I had the same thought. Yeah,
like,
I was like,
back.
wait, did they? Is this like a double fake? Like they
Right?
fake telling us that he's a fake when really he's the real deal? Like, come
Right?
on.
Like, this is Marshall Mathers and Slim Shady, bro. This is just some weak ass alter ego. No, Slim Shady's actually a strong alter ego. But yeah, it's like, listen to Evil Twin. But anyway, what? Like, bro, go sit down, man. And beat the girl, man. We love Hornheat. Like,
Yeah.
seriously. Oh, crazy shit. He's getting what he's about to get anyway. Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
end, man. That is the end. Sad episode.
Yes, sir. Very
Mm.
sad. Very sad.
Ah, all right. It's been real. Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
been real. See you next
All right.
time.
Yep.